Tell him to hold on.
Well, hey, you gotta hang on. I guess he must have forgot something.
Yeah, a message.
Oh, well, you've got it in your brain. Mr. Bill. Oh, hi, Joe. Hello.
The Joe. Oh, somebody pray for me. Oh, just hit my elbow on the piano.
Good morning, Jack Friedman, Anthony Golden, Misty Soper, Garrett Kustra.
Best people in the world.
See, you're behind this morning. So good morning, Valerie.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm behind. What does that have to do with? Because you
Well, I
recognize
just start
everybody's
talking, and you just have to keep going. And good morning, Sharon Stein. They had a wonderful
And Stan.
And Stan. Misty Soper said, "Dang girl, I can't read it. I gotta get my glasses."
Well, here, I do everything.
Diana Lee. Good morning. Jerry Nicholson, good morning. Christopher
You know what,
Kyer, good morning.
Jerry Nicholson sent me the nicest message this morning. I think either last night or this morning. I read it this morning, and man, these people put pressure on me. They talk about how
today.
Huh?
Chris Kyer said he was first today.
Yeah, well, Chris is always first in his mind and whatever is going on. But Jerry, and he was taking, I think, his daughter to college and coming back, and he listened to her programs, a couple of them, and was telling me how great they were. And I go, if he'd been, I go, Jerry, don't put the pressure on me. Just let me kind of slide down the river of life here. But anyhow, I love every one of them. Love Jerry and his family. They're tremendous people. Chris
Kyer says he's LMA. Oh, you know what that means.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what? He's going to have to be. Facebook is going to suspend him.
He's got a birthday coming up Tuesday, and he's only going to be 39 again. So that makes me 40. So
you're still older than him, huh? No matter what happens. But he's a great guy. I love Chris. I love all of them. I can give you stories about each one of them, and I like that. I like that we get to know them that well. Some of them I've never, if they walk through, come up to our front door, we wouldn't know who they were, Sherry. But as soon as they tell us our name, we go, yeah, I know you. I do want to remember the John Lutz family. Marlene's father transitioned, and so we want to hold them up in prayer. Tremendous family, and from what I understand, her father was a great man. And also, we have a friend, Jenny Pepin. Now, is she in Washington or?
No, she's up northern California.
Oh, she's still in California? Oh, I feel sorry for her.
Northern California, so.
Yeah, but anyhow, she is. She needs prayer. She had broke her hip, and they put her in a I don't know what, rehab, I guess. And then she had a heart attack and a stroke. And so we want to remember her and her family in prayer. And I think her husband's name was Ken. You asked me. No? Still not it?
That's not it.
Oh, man. All right. Well, welcome to the Gospel According to Kinison, and I am your man. I am your illustrious host, and we're coming to you live from God's country in San Antonio, Texas. And I'm excited to be here with you. And you folks all say, I look forward to this every Sunday. I look forward to this every Sunday. And because I love just watching people gain knowledge. And I'm not, you know my feelings about religion and everything else. And somebody asked me the other day, said, will there ever be another Gandhi or another Jesus or another Buddha or whatever these men that came with, and also women, Mother Teresa, but they come with that message that was life changing in the world. Will there ever be another one like that? No. Somebody said, "How are you so sure?" Because now we are. You and I, and the ones that are getting this revelation, we are the voice that's ringing today. I don't think there'll ever be an individual alone. I think that God will always, because we're coming into our rightful place as sons of God, beloved sons of God. Well, that wasn't what I was going to teach on. Sherry messed me up this morning. The name of our lesson is "The World's in Trouble," and she started going, why are you putting a negative out there? And I go, well, it's going to end up all right. Anyhow, so then I was looking, and I shouldn't do that, man. Once I make up my mind, I got to stick with it. Anyhow, I want you to start off with this morning. I want to tell you something. Nothing that's going to shock you. The world is in trouble. The world is in trouble. You can look around. The entire world is in trouble. This lesson I'm giving you today provides an explanation of the crisis we are facing in a way that not only clarifies the crisis, but also how to resolve it. It's not difficult, folks. It's not difficult. Once you understand it, it is not difficult. You see, we can look away from what's happening. The sudden and eruptive disintegration of our life as we know it, for only so long. Before that, we really are in big trouble, presents itself in ways that we cannot ignore. And you cannot ignore it. So I don't want to get a Democratic viewpoint. I don't want to get a Republican viewpoint on what I'm saying today. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you individually. If I was sitting in your living room and you and I were sitting down, that's what this is. You see, that is what is occurring right now. And I could spend I'd probably spend all the program on how bad it is and who I think's responsible and all that stuff, but that's not going to change anything. You see, we're being confronted by events and conditions that we cannot any longer ignore. We just can't do it. This does not mean that now is a time of despair. You see, despair, in fact, is the last thing this is time for. This isn't time for despair. I don't know despair. I only know what is good. I don't think Jesus would have been moved. I don't think Gandhi would have been moved. I don't think these other great men would have been moved by what we're facing today. You say, why? They had an insight on how to overcome and how it was going to end up. You see, despair is what has created the problem. That's not going to help the problem. Despair, as I just told you, is the last thing this is time for. Now is not the time for despair. It's the time for repair. And that's going to come through us. As we seek to repair the damage that is going on, we are invited to explore the matter of why is it going on? How did we get to this place? This I'm giving you today is a life-altering message. It's a life-altering message. It contains, and I'm going to be very bold about it, it contains new revelations. You'll see in just a few moments why I'm saying that. It provides the tools with which, and I'm talking about these revelations that we teach to you every week, it provides the tools with which to pull ourselves out of despair, lifting the whole human race to a new level of experience, to a new understanding of itself. The message is given to us, sent to us at this very time. This is not just something that just happens. We've been made for this moment to help the others, help other people. We have reached a time of choosing. We can either move forward, build together a new world of peace and harmony based on the new beliefs of God and of life, or we can move backward and reconstruct the old world of conflict and discord based upon old beliefs of God. I'm excited. I'm excited. How long can we keep ourselves going if we continue to choose the old ways? I said this a little bit last week, and I'm going to say it really plainly today, that I think being raised in religion or being raised in church, I think it's harder for you to accept the message that we're teaching. I think it's better for you if you've never been to church. You say, why? Because that's the old ways, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work, honey. We've had it, and we've looked at it. It doesn't work. See, for those who are ready to embrace new beliefs, or at least consider them, the issue becomes, what would they be? What would these new beliefs be? I believe these new revelations have been given to us to offer some possible and powerful answers to these questions. Now, before we get all spiritual and everything else, I want to remind you of something, of the basics and the foundations. God wants you to be prosperous. Above all things, I would that you be rich and healthy. He wants us to be prosperous. He wants us to be healthy. He wants us to walk with victory, to walk with prosperity, to walk with success. That's God's desire. Jesus did. This Jesus, he's amazing. I sat at my desk, and I did this week. I sat at my desk, and I was thinking about Jesus. And then it kind of mystified me to stop and think that really, except for one day in 30 years, and even then, that's not the way the preachers describe it, isn't what happened, but close enough. They never saw him to be any different than anyone else. When he walked down the street, people weren't going, that's the Son of God. No, they were going, that's the carpenter, Jesus. He works with his father, works with his dad, and they're carpenters. They do good work. That's how they knew him. And I'm thinking, how can this person, and he was a man, and he was the beloved Son of Man, or Son of God, but he wasn't the only beloved Son of God. Now I want to start to look at us. I want you to see how you grew up. No one looked at you. Probably for most of us, no one looked at us as being involved in this vision and in what God's telling us today. When you look back, I know no one probably ever believed I was. I didn't. When I was a child, I did not like church. And to be honest with you, God scared me. As I grew older, that didn't change. It got worse. Finally, the way that it had been pictured to me, I was going to hell anyway. No matter what I did, the chances were I was not going to be ready when he come riding in on that white horse with the sword sticking out of his mouth. When we all left this earth, the meeting in the sky, I was sure I'm not going to be there. So if I'm not going to make it, I might as well enjoy my trip to hell while I'm here. Then something happened to me. Then I realized who I really was. I wasn't just Bill Kinison the man, the kid, the teenager. And God let me know, no matter what I did, He still loved me. He loved me so much, He couldn't even see those things. They'd been wiped from His memory. Now listen for a second. Listen for a second. If they didn't know who Jesus was, why are you upset if they don't know who you are? Because there will come a time. His time came at 30 years old when John the Baptist was baptizing people. And they knew each other. They were actually cousins. But John the Baptist was not ready for what he was about to see. Here comes Jesus down, and all of a sudden John has his eyes opened and realizes this is the Son of God. This is the beloved Son of God. So when Jesus walks out into the water to be baptized, that's why John said, I have need to be baptized of you. And Jesus told him, no, the scriptures must be fulfilled. I have to be baptized. From then on, life was never the same for anyone. Man, I want to show you something. You see, I asked God to reveal to us what we need to know if we want to help change this self-destructive direction in which humanity and our country is heading, how it's going down the road that way. Now, the God of my understanding may not be the God in which you believe it is. I am convinced it's still the same God, nonetheless. Yours and mine. We may look differently at it. There's still just one God. And He's the same God. You see, and I believe that any person, if they go to this same God with purity, sincerity, and with a deep desire, God will respond. And God will protect. And God will bless. And God will make a way where there seems to be no way. And it won't even be a big thing to you because you're expecting it. You see, our country and our world is on the brink of disaster. I'm not talking about natural disasters. We have hurricanes all the time. We have tornadoes all the time. We have all these other things that happen naturally. I'm not talking about naturally. I'm talking about man-made calamities. Our country and humans have had disagreements before, and serious ones. But now our divisions and our disagreements cannot simply lead to wars, which are bad enough, but they can lead to the end of civilization as we know it. Now, don't get all afraid. That's not you. That's not you. You know, I read a quote. I don't know if I read it on the internet or I don't know where. It's by C.S. Lewis. And I like his teachings. I like his quotes. And he said this: one of the most cowardly things ordinary people do is to shut their eyes to facts. And I've never seen such a display of that as we watch our political system here in our country right now. That's cowardly. To get up and lie and lie and lie and lie is one thing. To have people that sit there and shut their eyes to the facts and believe the lies, that's one of the most cowardly, according to C.S. Lewis, and I agree with him, cowardly things you can do. You see, you understand the severity of the problem. You simply don't understand the nature of the problem. You don't know what is causing it. So you keep trying to solve it at every level except the level at which it exists, which is the level of belief. That we're not examining. That's where we should start. The problem facing the world today is a spiritual problem. Now you're going to have to hang on all the way through this lesson to get this. It's a spiritual problem. Your ideas about spirituality, or the world's ideas about spirituality, are killing them, and they're killing you if you feel that way. You keep trying to solve the world's problems as if they were political problems. Oh man, if we can just get Trump back in there. Oh, I'll tell you what, if they just leave Biden alone, he's working on it. We think it's a political problem. We think it's an economic problem. The Fed rates just went up again, which means it's going to cost you more money, and your money's going to be less. Even a military problem. And it's none of these. It's not the politics, it's not the economics, and it's not the military. It's none of these. And that is the one problem that people don't seem to know how to solve. Here's how preachers do it. And I've heard this my whole life. This is what all the preachers say. It's all in the book. Read the book and heed the book. I remember I had them tell me that so many times in Bible college. Read the book, heed the book. Well, the problem is they hold up a different book. The basic message of all the sacred scriptures are the same. What is different is how people have been interpreting them. You cannot agree within a particular group of you, much less between groups. You can't get them to agree about what a particular book says and what it means. And you see these as disagreements, or you see them as justifications for slaughter. Do you realize the millions and millions, maybe billions of people that's been killed over religion? Over religion. We have wars that have started and been fought over religion. And we feel justified in that. You can argue about what the Quran says and about what it means. You can argue among yourselves about what the Bible says and about what its words means. You can argue among yourselves about what the Talmud says or what the Book of Mormon says. I can go on and keep mentioning many more, but I think you get the point here. The point is, there are many holy writings and sacred scriptures, and you act as if there's only one. You act as if the only word you can get from God is you find on these scriptures. God will also speak to that inner man of you. You control your destiny. I had someone this week sent me a long message on Facebook. And they've had a horrible life. They've had things that have happened to them. And they were just at their end. And somebody said, well, what did you tell them? I told them, you control your destiny. You control your journey. When I was a psychology major in college, and I remember one of the first things that I learned there was that we're all psychotic one way or another. It's everybody else's fault, or it's all your fault. And if you really break it down, it really does come down that way. But wait a minute. What they're not anticipating is that God makes the difference. That God in you, God in me. The spiritual arrogance is what has caused you your greatest sorrow as people. Is that religious arrogance. And you know what I'm talking about. You have suffered more and caused other people to suffer more over your ideas about God than over your ideas about anything else in your human experience. You want to get an argument? I remember my dad used to tell me, never discuss religion and politics with anyone because you'll lose your friends. He was so right. I didn't realize it at the time. He was so right. You see, there's one thing, listen to this, there's one thing for which people seem willing to give up everything. One thing. One thing. They'll give up love. They will give up peace. They will give up health, harmony, happiness. They'll give up safety, security, and even their own sanity for this one thing. What is it? Being right. They'll lose everything just to be right. So people ask me, do you want me to give up my beliefs? I get that every once in a while. You would not want to destroy your old belief system in any event. I know people, because there's too much of it that you will wish to retain. You can't do it. I usually, every once in a while, I used to do it quite often, but I probably ought to start doing it again about, a statement of our belief that we have given, and then I ask you, for the next 30 minutes, take the foundations of your belief and just set them on the side for the next 30 minutes. Because if you don't, you're going to try to fit what God is speaking to us right now into what you've always believed in your entire life. How's that worked out for you? How has that worked out for you? You have to leave the old things behind. My granddaughter and pretty soon my grandson, and then I remember my daughter. I think the funniest example of going to school was my brother Kevin. And he had just went to school, and he went there, it was a year, and he was either in kindergarten, I think he was in first grade. And he came home after his last day in first grade. He came home and he was crying. My dad finally asked him, said, Kevin, what's wrong with you? And so through his tears, he said, they told me I had to come back next year. And then he got all bold about it and said, I want to tell you one thing. I'm not going to school my whole life. He thought, I guess he thought the rest of us was slow. But he went that 1 year and he thought that's enough. I don't need to go to all those other years of classes. And so when he graduated, they told him, welcome, next year you're going to be in second grade. And that just totally disrupted his thinking. But it's a lot like Christians. Christians especially, because I know them better than I do the other groups. Christians especially, they'll come down and get saved and never move any higher spiritually than that moment. And they'll fight against anything that takes them deeper. I've told you this, but I'll repeat it. I remember I don't know what grade I was in, whether it was teaching me to add and subtract and multiply and divide. I'd say probably about fourth grade. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed numbers. I enjoy them to this day. I enjoy math. But I remember as a young boy, that really stuck in my mind because she told me you cannot add and subtract letters with numbers. Can't do it. Well, about the 5th grade, maybe the 6th grade, I walked into an algebra class for the first time. Now, remember, I sat in there and he had written up on the blackboard, I think he wrote X plus Y equals Z. And he said, when you get through with this class, you'll understand the numerical value of that. And I remember I shot my hand up. And he asked me, he said, yeah, what do you want? And I told him, said, Mr. Stein, last year in our class, told us we can't do that. So you can't do that. And I remember he goes, Mrs. Stein did and what you needed to hear in the 4th grade. Now in the 5th grade, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear here in the 5th grade. And it was just a matter of maturing and growing up and continuing the education. But let me tell you something. Church people don't believe like that. Christians don't believe like that. I assume Buddhists don't believe like that. I imagine Judaism doesn't believe like that. But it's the absolute truth. You have to continue to grow. If you do that, everything, is that glory to God or getting ready to do your happy dance?
Yeah.
You see, we have to get rid of the old belief system in us. You don't have to declare that you were wrong about anything, because that's very difficult for people to admit. And you weren't wrong for that time, but it's a new time. You simply didn't have a complete understanding. You needed more information. And once I realized that, I started studying in a new way. I started seeing God in a new way. He was not a God that was separate from me. He had made his home in me. I'm not looking for that man or that big God sitting up there on that big throne that's waiting for us to die, and he's going to open up his book and tell you how bad or how good you were. No. All he has is grace. He cannot see the bad. Said his eyes are too holy to behold iniquity. In other words, he doesn't even know the bad things that you've done. And when you're down there getting saved, so to speak, the first thing they want to do is remind you of what you've done. They want you to publicly confess, I've been a sinner. I've done this and that. No. God says he saves you through grace, by faith. Through grace, unmerited, nothing you can do. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this time you've given us this morning. I ask that these words find a place in their hearts. Those that have ears to hear, let them hear these words today. God, the future of our country, the future of us as a people is in our hands. Let us see the victory is ours. When they have no money, when the money is skyrocketing, God will make a way. He'll give you the success and the money. He'll give you the healing. He'll give you the peace and the joy. The world will see it, and it'll start transforming them. I ask you to touch every one of these people, and I'll give you all the praise. Amen. Well, Sherry, got anything you want to say?
I thank everybody for sending Scarlett happy birthdays.
Oh, no, my daughter, my granddaughter, we had a party yesterday, but you don't understand the Kinisons. They do things for like a week. So we started the first birthday party yesterday, but her birthday isn't till Monday. Am I right?
Yes.
So we'll be having another big party on Monday. I'm sure we're going to be doing something today.
Well, Ginger's going to have a party, I think, with her class tomorrow.
Okay.
And then tomorrow night we'll go.
Then we'll have another one tomorrow night. But you can't help but love her. And I'm going to tell you, you know what? These kids today, can I tell them a little bit about our party yesterday?
Sure, I don't care.
Well, you would invite your friends to come to your party, and you'd eat cake, and you'd get their presents, and that was about it. You'd play. No. You know what they do with Scarlett's party? We sat down, and they brought in a Teflon cook.
Teflon grill cook.
He set it up, and I'm going to tell you, one of the best birthday parties I've ever been in, the way he played with those kids, spraying water on them and everything else. But Sherry, we had Teflon. We had steak, we had chicken, we had rice, we had vegetables. We had a Teflon meal there at the Cottrell house of our daughter Ginger and our son-in-law Devin. And it was fantastic, just fantastic. Then I looked over and Finnegan sitting with you and me, and I'm thinking, oh man, we're going to be doing all this again for years. But I wouldn't take anything for it. I love them. I love you. Sherry loves you. God loves you. And we'll be here next week. God bless America.
Have a great week.